The community has never seen anything like it. Thousands of young people worked up by a named Steve Dahl. His anti-disco night, it got out of hand. The White Sox promotion obviously backfired when the fans, the young ones, took the demonstration much too seriously, spilled out of their seats, mobbing the field. As you can see, the game delayed over 2 hours. And police have actually set up barricades now to keep people out of the area of the stadium. Rosemarie Gully is there with a live report. Rosemarie is not there with a live report. As you can imagine, the scene outside the stadium, as you saw inside, is very chaotic, and it is our policy not to add to the situation. Terry, I know you were about to introduce Al Lerner, who was there when the action started. May I do the honor, since we don't have Rosemarie? Tell us what happened, Al.
Well, very simply, Joel, as you say, a disco promotion. This is anti-disco demolition night. The whole idea of this promotion, Steve Dahl on his morning show blows up disco records. Tonight at Comiskey Park, in with the White Sox, a dual promotion to blow up thousands of disco records. The idea was for 98 cents, anybody can get into the ballpark for 98 cents, and a disco record brought 50,000 people. I believe that Rosemarie Gully is ready out in the field, and if we can go to Rosemarie, we'll go to her right now for her report.
I'm ready to go. You know, it was a combination of a lot of things out here, and it's called, you can blame it on the disco, because a local rock radio station had a promotion out here tonight, whereas they wanted to blow up disco. So they distributed records and had a demonstration out on the field. So that, the heat, and a lot of drugs, and just a very unruly crowd presented the problem. I talked to the deputy chief, who told me that they knew that this was brewing around 4 o'clock. Anyway, I did talk to some people as they were leaving after the first game. Can we go to that tape?
Look at your report.
It just started out, you know, everybody was getting ready for it, and they got all hyper. They started throwing stuff back and forth, and then...
Why did they get all hyper?
Well, they wanted to blow up the disco records. They don't like them.
Steve Dahl came out, they blew up all the records, and the people went wild. They went onto the fields, they lit fires, it just went wild.
I'm really a Sox fan, and it just got out of hand. These people are good people, it just got out of hand. Too many people, that's all.
Al and Tim, who's to fault? Who is at fault for this happening?
Well, we have to start, of course, the White Sox have to take ultimate responsibility for what happens in their park. Bill Veeck agreed to the promotion. They wanted to get a big crowd, and they got a big crowd at the ballpark. So responsibility has to be shared by both the radio station, who hyped this event for weeks and weeks on the radio. The whole idea is to get people angry and to get them really anti-disco, bring them to the ballpark, and give them their due. Now, here we are. Earlier in the evening, 50,000 people estimated at the ballpark, and everybody's having a good time, but we knew that there was a problem there. Lots of fans on the outside who couldn't get into the ballpark, estimates up to 5,000, who were climbing in. This is Steve Dahl, the jockey, and he is on the field speaking to 500 to 50,000 fans, and then the disco explosion. This is what they all came to see. Fireworks first, and then all the records the people brought blown up. It was at that point that everybody was looking around for something to happen. And when one person ran onto the field in center field, this is what ensued. I was standing on the field with our camera crew shooting this, and it was one of the most horrifying sights you can imagine, standing out there and watching 5,000 people run toward you. Bill Veeck, of course, has to be dejected, thinking about whether or not he can ever run in promotions like this again. And finally, it took the Chicago police to sweep the area to get the people off the park. Steve Dahl, the disc jockey, was nowhere to be found as soon as this was going on, and it was an unfortunate error in planning by both the White Sox and the radio station. They didn't understand the magnitude of what they had started, and then it got out of hand. There were a lot of booze, of course, in the ballpark, and a lot of drugs, as Rosemarie said too. The smell of marijuana, of course, very pungent in the air. We've just learned that the second game has been called. We assume that means the White Sox have forfeited that game, and now they're going to just try to clear the area and get everybody home and try to forget about this night at the ballpark.
What is this going to do to Bill Veeck's promotions in the future, Tim?
I really don't know, but this is obviously the, you know, those people weren't vicious. They weren't really mean. Nobody was injured that we know of, but man, it was just too crazy. You can't blow up records in the middle of a baseball field and expect 50,000 people to just say, hey, let's get on with the next game. We'll have more on the Comiskey Park scene later on in the news.
Thank you, Tim. Thank you, Al. Thank you, Rose Marie.